Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Lelantia Show. Today I'm coming on to talk about Merlin. So I've had some requests to people just want to learn a little bit more about him. And there are a lot of people that really feel that pull to work with him, but they don't really know much about him or if they're supposed to work with him or if he'll show up for them. So I just wanted to share a little bit of information about Merlin according to what I have channeled and information that I have received in different ways. So for those of you who don't know me already, my name is Lelantia. I'm a psychic realm channeler and healer, and I specialize in working with the magical realm. So I work with dragons, unicorns, mermaids, fairies, all of the different magical beings, and some ascended masters, including Merlin. And of course, sometimes angels show up, and, you know, regular guides as well. So I wanted to come on here to talk about this because Merlin has really been showing up really strongly for a lot of people, and there's a lot of confusion about who he is and how we can work with him, and if you are worthy of working with him. Let's just use that word. So the first thing I want to clear up, and just stick with me here, okay? Don't get disappointed immediately, but Merlin is a title. So Merlin is a title of that was created because of an enlightened soul who created this, I want to say, like, he created this magical land, and he began to bring through these teachings of magical transformation. So the teachers of this magical transformation in this specific line of energy, and for many of us, me included, we work with the Merlin vortex. So we work with this energy that's bringing through it's bringing through healing energy from the Merlin consciousness is what it is. And it's a whole long story about that, but let's just keep this somewhat understandable, because I know all of this stuff can get a little bit confusing. So Merlin is a title, but the Merlin that we tend to know of or we picture in our mind is the Merlin from Arthurian times. So the Merlin from Arthurian times was the 5th Merlin on Earth. So an enlightened being called Mahindra was the first Merlin, and he is the one who created this magical realm or magical land that we can channel this information or this healing energy through the vortex. So the first Merlin on Earth was in 753 BC when someone on Earth first channeled Mahindra, which was the original Merlin who created that Merlin energy, right? So a lot of the Merlin energy is in the Emerald Isles. We think of Merlin, we think of, England, Scotland, Ireland, England, Wales. We think of these places associated with Merlin, and a lot of it's for a reason. That energy is very, very strong there. And so it doesn't mean that every Merlin, and there are many Merlins on Earth right now that are incarnated to bring this through. So I'd be considered a Merlin because I channel this information. I am a teacher of the art of magical transformation, right? And a healer. So when we're channeling Merlin, we can channel the consciousness of Merlin, which is, a consciousness of many Merlins. But the Merlin that we tend to see and connect with has this very strong, personality, and seems very, clear in being one being. I would say that this can differ for different people. And that it doesn't have to be a specific Merlin from a specific time, but it can be. So it's really what resonates with you and what you see. So when I channel with Merlin, I see a being that is extremely wise. He holds a staff. He looks like a wizard. He looks like the Merlin from Arthurian times. He has a very, very strong energy. He has a good sense of humor. Let's just say that. He has a really great sense of humor. He can, really lighten things up. He's an incredible teacher. He's a very, very powerful healer. He he helps us see things in a different way, but he does it in a way that isn't so serious. You know, he can be really serious about things, but in my experience, when I'm channeling him, he really brings in, you know, this lighter energy and makes it so it doesn't seem so scary or overwhelming. Because I think a lot of us have really built this up, that this working with Merlin is this really special thing, and we really have to be, you know, especially gifted or a special person to be able to do this. And that's not it at all. What it is that you came to Earth, and this is part of your role because you have worked with a Merlin in a past life, or you were a Merlin in a past life. And you are meant to bring this energy to Earth. So we're bringing this energy to Earth, and we are spreading all over the globe. So it's not just centered in the Emerald Isles. As you can tell, I don't live in the Emerald Isles. Well, I don't right now anyways. So it's important for this energy to kind of be spread everywhere so that we can really make this impact in lives all over the world, and heal the earth as well, because we are healers. We can do a lot of earth healing. So when we are Merlins and we're meant to bring through this energy, then you can become initiated into the Order of Merlin. You can get your vortex wheel in your chest activated and be able to channel this energy through the vortex, which is incredibly powerful and very magical and healing, obviously. So it is, I would say it's a privilege, but it's really just a part of who you really are. So how do you know if you're supposed to work with Merlin? Well, you just know. So I'll give you my example. I had gotten into spirituality, had my awakening, got into spirituality. Let's go in the right order here. And it was like maybe less than a year into it that I really started like feeling this pull to Merlin. So my experience had been when I had read Miss of Avalon, you know, a long time ago, before I even knew that Avalon had been a real place or was a real place. But I really had this really strong connection. And so it wasn't really a big surprise. When I read the book, it was even just like this remembrance within me. It's like my soul remembered stuff from then, right? But I didn't recognize what any of that meant at that time. So then I got into my spiritual path, and I was on it for a little while, and then I'm like, that was real because I had lived in Avalon. This really connected with me because of that. And then I began to like really feel this pull to connect with Merlin. The thing was, I wasn't really ready. So I was like doing all of these different things, hoping that Merlin would come forward for me. I would buy crystals that would say anything about Merlin at all. I would buy, you know, different tools. I would, oils. I bought, you know, all kinds of stuff, hoping that I would connect with Merlin. But it was once I kind of let that go, and I was like, I'm trusting in my path. I'm not going to force anything to happen anymore. I had time to do a lot of my own inner work, a lot of shadow work, a lot of healing, really moving through things. Then I began to really recognize that you kind of have to let go of things in order for things to be created or to come about. It wasn't really a creation, but to allow it to unfold, because I was trying to force it to happen. But at the same time, not really feeling worthy of it, because I didn't really feel like I was worthy of working with Merlin. I mean, really me. So once I did that, it was maybe, I don't even know how long after that. I would say it could have been only a few months. Then I had an experience where Merlin showed up very, very strongly and undeniably. And then he was present. From then on, he kept coming up in my life. If I was working with another person, he would show up. I was drawn to workshops with other people that he was in, and some of them he would channel messages for me. And a lot of stuff was just coming through where it was really undeniable. And I just had to trust that he was there. But I also had this proof from other people as far as like confirmations of the information they were receiving, working with a coach, and he would always show up for me. And it was just really, I had a lot of proof, really. And then as I stepped in that energy more, I began to journey with him more. I began to receive more information from him. I began to channel him on the regular as I really developed my channeling skills. I began to bring through more information. Then I was able to participate in a program where I was able to be initiated into the Order of Merlin and have my vortex wheel activated. So the vortex wheel is located in your chest. You only have it if it was placed there in a previous life. So not everybody has it, but if you do have it, then you may feel that pull to work with Merlin. And when you question, whether you have the wheel, then it's probably that you do have the wheel. Otherwise, you wouldn't be drawn to it. So if you don't have the wheel, then you'd probably just be like, that's interesting, and you would move on. But if you're like, that would be so cool, like I really want to have that wheel, then you probably have that wheel already. If you're watching this video, you're watching this video for a reason. So something to pay attention to. The wheel somebody has to activate that wheel for you, who already has an activated wheel. Not everybody does that. It's not just, you can just turn to somebody and be like, hey, will you activate my wheel? But it's not a huge process. It's not like this big long thing you have to do. It's literally meeting with them for a little while, learning about how all of this works. Generally, when I work with other people through this, then it's multiple sessions. It's not just like we hop on one call and do it. Depending on the person, if you already have been working with Merlin, it might be 3 sessions, but it depends on where you are in your healing journey as well. Because you do kind of have to reach a certain point, because it won't be activated if you're not at a vibration at which you resonate with that, or where it can actually be activated, in my experience. So that's just a little bit about him. I know that there's a lot of confusing information out there, but I love working with Merlin, and I have had so many incredible experiences in my journeys with him, and connecting with trees and being shown. I've actually had trees show me past lives with Merlin. And I've had other people who have told me when they have done past life readings, and I haven't had anybody do this in a long time, but several years ago, I had some people do some past life readings on me, and Merlin had come through a few different times with a few different things. So it's just something to, pay attention to. If you feel a pull to work with him, ask him to come forward and make it, really obvious, and ask, who should you work with to really deepen your connection with Merlin, or if you're meant to do it on your own, as far as, if you know how to do journeys, or, even going into meditation and inviting him to come forward to work with you. And if you're pulled to have your Merlin Vortex wheel activated, then finding someone that is qualified to do that at the time that feels right for you. Or if you just have questions about it, then you can reach out to somebody who does that, myself, or there are other people all over the world that do it. I would say, I don't even know how many there are. I have no idea how many there are, but I know that more and more people have incarnated at this time to bring this energy here to be able to shift a lot of things and to raise the consciousness on Earth. So, and to bring in this powerful healing energy, which is really, really incredible. So, like I said before, Merlin is his energy is very, very wise. Like, he's a very, very wise being, or beings, if you're working with that collective of the Merlin consciousness. But it's also this really great sense of humor, not taking things too seriously. And that, like, to me, his personality is like, you can't mistake him for anybody else. And it's not that he's incredibly powerful, because he is incredibly powerful, but and it's not his wisdom so much that you excuse me, that you feel that from. It's really that energy of his personality, and that, that magic that he brings through, because you do kind of just feel the magic of him, but that, lightness of heart, and that really, it's just really hard to explain it. I guess you really have to step into that energy to understand it. And it, it can depend on the individual. Each person is a little bit different, the energy that you need. And maybe he just brings in this lighter energy for me because I take things too seriously, but I just absolutely love working with his energy because it's so magical and light and fun, but yet very, very serious and transformational, like massively transformational, because it is all about the art of magical transformation and being able to transform things. So all of this stuff can be really confusing if this is the beginning of you stepping into this energy, and I understand that. So you can, follow me on my blog hasn't been very active, I won't lie. I need to start updating it again, but you can follow me on my blog, my website, lalantia.com. You can follow me on my Facebook business page, Lalantia Makana, or my group on Facebook, which is Sorceress's Circle. You can follow me on Instagram, which is Lalantia Makana. And you can see, some of these messages that I bring through and channel. I don't just channel Merlin, I channel all kinds of magical beings, but really, if you're called to work with Merlin, then you're probably called to work with magical beings. He works with a lot of different, energies, dragons, definitely the dragons. He really works with the dragons a lot, but he'll come forward with lots of different things. So follow me on those places to find out more. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.